Bring the mic over to say hello. This is a very early weekend tarot stream. And as evidence of this, I have my second cup of coffee. I'm getting myself ready to go. It's harder than normal because normally I do this in the evening. Now I'm trying to do it in the morning, and I'm like, hey, Grinch, how are you? Howdy, mate. It's like I'm getting myself going. So I have my trusty moon card tarot dish here on the tarot table waiting. But I think, so, and I have been sort of getting myself kind of ready. There's a couple things I'm going to do this month along with my tarot thing. I decided I think I should try to play this crazy game that's out and everybody seems to be really liking called Diablo 4. I just have a instinct to play it and give it a shot. And what I'll do is I'll stream my effort there. Hungover. Hey, what could be better, right? After a nice Friday, you're hungover and chores around the house. That is the way to live. I'm telling you, man. Uh, Me, I'm not hungover. I was just, what was I doing? Oh, you know what I did last night? I went to the gym. I went to the gym early in the evening because I box, and I wore myself the hell out. I was like, ugh. And I was like wanting to do the gym. And then at the end, there's always a food truck out there where they sell really good smoothies, like all natural smoothies, no sugar or junk added. And I was looking so forward to that after the gym. And I walked out of the gym and there was no truck there. And I was like, what? And but that was early. So I came back and then I was just like, you know what? I can't do anything. So I sat down and I watched a show called Black Mirror on Netflix. I watched like 2 of those. They're kind of silly but fun, which is fine, right? They're like fantasy slash suspense, maybe sort of stuff. Sci-fi, fantasy slash suspense, thriller sort of things, but with a little, they're sort of done to be fun, but also make you a little like, it kind of makes you want to have nightmares, but not in a bad way, really. Not that awful. Yeah. The first episode of this new season is a little shaky. It doesn't make any sense. It's like you're looking at it and you're like going, okay, come on. That's so stupid. But it's still entertaining, right? It's still kind of fun to watch, and it actually gets better as it goes. And then the second episode is like, ooh, this is like freaky, and it's a disturbing one, but it's really well done. And the second one also is really beautiful to look at. It has like all these incredible landscapes in it, even though it's like a really sort of twisted story. Yeah, each episode is different. That they call that kind of a TV series an anthology series because there is continuity. There's one sort of interesting little piece of continuity that runs through the first 2 episodes, at least, that I've seen in this season. It's a real, like, doesn't really affect the story, but it is a little bit of a thread running through. Yeah, man. I missed the food truck last night. It was like so disappointing because I'm telling you, these people make smoothies like nobody's ever seen before. I was like, and I came out of the gym one night and I was like, I didn't want to order one. So I walked up to the truck and I was like saying to the person, hey, can you make these smoothies but not put any extra like sugar in there? And this lady leaned through the window and she said, I dare you to find one tiny grain of extra sugar in my smoothies. And I was like, oh, really? I just thought maybe you put, and she was like, no. We just do all fruit. And they put banana. They have a bunch of different ones, but the one I get is banana, strawberry, oatmeal, almond milk, and they put some vanilla in there and a little peanut butter. And man, it's so good. So what I thought I would do, and I've been doing this, I did this the other night, is do a quick I Ching reading. And I do that by putting my screen up here. I get a screen here, right here, so that I can then draw the hexagram. So I take these coins, these 3 coins, right there, and I throw them off to the side here. So I'm going to roll, and then I'm going to write down the lines that I get starting from the bottom and work up. That's how you do it with I Ching. All right, so we have rolled a 3 plus 4 is 7, and that gives us yang line. And then we roll the next one. And this is for just a nice little general reading for the weekend to avoid strife and tribulations and that kind of thing. And then we rolled another 7. That's another yang. And then we rolled another 7. Another yang. And then we rolled another 7. Another yang. And then we rolled a 6, 7, 8, which is a yin. And then we rolled a 9, which is a moving yang, like that. So there's our I Ching hexagram. Now let's look at what it gives us. So the top is a yang. You don't talk about the moving yet until later in the reading. So it's a yang, a yin, and a yang. And that is fire. Now the bottom trigram is 3 yangs, and that is the basically the sunburst type element. And I have my, otherwise known as heaven, sun, that force on the bottom. So now what I do is I look at my chart here and I say, okay, I have fire on top and heaven on the bottom. And so I move, I see fire on top here, and I see heaven on the bottom, and so I match them up and it becomes 14. It's the 14th hexagram that we're going to look for in the wonderful I Ching book. Fire on top of heaven. What an interesting sort of image that puts in the mind. All right, let's find it. I am going to use for this one, this version of the I Ching, which is the great, probably the most famous English version of the I Ching in the world. It's the one by Wilhelm Baines, 1950. It was put together. So I go to the 14th. There's 17. Here we are. 14. Okay, so this is what the I Ching has to say for our weekend. Ta Yu, that's the name of it. On top we have the clinging flame. On the bottom we have the creative heaven. The name of this is Ta Yu, otherwise known in English as possession in great measure. The fire in heaven above shines far, and all things stand out in the light and become manifest. The weak 5th line occupies the place of honor. That's this 5th line here, the yin, considered the weak force. It's the place of honor. And all the strong lines, all these other yang lines around this one weak line, are in accord with it. All things come to the person who is modest and kind in a high position. The judgment is possession in great measure, supreme success. It's a very successful, powerful reading for our weekend. Possession, things that you have. Success, using your abilities and your high position in whatever it is we're talking about here, however you want to apply this, using it well. The two trigrams indicate that strength and clarity unite. Possession in great measure is determined by fate and accords with time. I'm going to take these off. The headphones sometimes have become a little distracting for me. How is it possible that the weak line has power to hold the strong lines fast and to possess them? It is done by virtue of unselfish modesty. The time is favorable, a time of strength within, clarity, and culture without. Power is expressing itself in a graceful and controlled way. This brings supreme success and wealth. Fire in heaven above, the image of possession in great measure. Thus, the superior man curbs evil and furthers good, and thereby obeys the benevolent will of heaven. The sun in heaven above, shedding light over everything on earth, is the image of possession on a grand scale. But a possession of this sort must be administered properly. The sun brings both evil and good into the light of day. Man must combat and curb the evil, and must favor and promote the good. Only in this way does he fulfill the benevolent will of God, who desires only good and not evil. Now, we come to the moving lines. As I said, we did a 9 up here. That indicates a moving yang line at the top. And what the book says is 9 at the beginning. We're looking at 9 at the end, at the top. 9 at the top means he is blessed by heaven, good fortune, nothing that does not further. In other words, nothing happens that doesn't further our cause. Nothing happens that doesn't help us move forward and help us gain what it is we are looking for this weekend. This is really an incredibly powerful I Ching. It goes on to say about this moving 9 at the top. In the fullness of possession and at the height of power, one remains modest and gives honor to the sage who stands outside the affairs of the world. By this means, one puts oneself under the beneficent influence descending from heaven, and all goes well. Confucius says of this moving 9 line at the top, to bless means to help. Heaven helps the man who is devoted. Men help the man who is true. He who walks in truth and is devoted in his thinking, and furthermore, reveres the worthy, is blessed by heaven. He has good fortune, and there is nothing that would not further. The entire image keeps mentioning the great favorable situation, the ability to have supreme success, but keeps reminding one to use one's power, to use one's gain, to use one's possession modestly, to maintain that modest outlook, that modest behavior, so that you can be open to the benefit of the subtle forces coming from heaven, the creative forces. And the idea is to always be open to what the sage has to say, the wise person has to say. To never think of yourself as in command of everything. You are always open and available, even when you are succeeding and being at the height of your power. And that's the big message of this 14th hexagram in the I Ching. It's very interesting how they put modesty and great wealth and possession together and show how they must operate together. That's a good start. And also what they say about the sun, let's bring that back to the tarot. And ex-Grinch, I see what you're saying. You went to an engagement ring appointment, planned timeline for the day didn't add up. Finally saw your girlfriend. She says, I have your location, right? Oh, so that's kind of funny, man. Oh man, that's pretty funny. That's really funny. So you're kind of busted, huh? You were caught wedding ring shopping, or your engagement ring shopping. You're busted. Oh boy, that's so funny. That's like a perfect scenario. Yeah, you guys must have had a good laugh about that. That's actually really good. That's very good. That's a very good indicator for the future. If you like, it's kind of charming, So, but so here you go with this I Ching reading. The I Ching tends to have a very healthy approach, but I was going to draw the comparison to the tarot in what they said about the sun. They say the image of fire in heaven above, possession in great measure, superior man curbs evil and furthers good, and thereby obeys the benevolent will of heaven. And it says the sun in heaven above, shedding light over everything on earth, is the image of possession on a grand scale. But a possession of this sort must be administered properly. The sun brings both good and evil into the light of day. Now, this is what I've always mentioned about the sun card in the tarot, the major arcana sun card, which is you can't always solely interpret the sun as this cheerful, fully positive element, because you have to acknowledge that sometimes the sun can be overbearing. It can create, its intensity can bring things to light that are dark, that are not necessarily good. As the I Ching warns, it can bring to light evil and good in equal measure. So the sun card you have to be very careful of and pay attention to reversals with that, because, anything you shed light upon, light is clarifying. Light illuminates and brings the truth forward, and you have to be prepared for what you see. So the sun card is more complex than just pointing out the fact that usually it shows two children frolicking. It could also show other aspects of the situation that are not as cheerful. So that's interesting little correspondence. Again, I like to find these relationships between tarot and I Ching. I think it's a good way to go, because one sort of refreshes the other a little bit. They kind of enrich each other if you take that attitude. Well, good. Yes, I think washing dishes while you listen to tarot is probably the best way to wash dishes ever invented. Now, since we did a quick I Ching, I'm going to run over here and do a quick tarot. I Ching can't just dominate the whole thing. If this is a tarot stream, then the tarot has to show up one way or another. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to let the I Ching just sort of control the entire room, you know. I'm getting better at shuffling. Slightly. I don't think it's really how you get better at shuffling. I think it's that the cards start to sort of loosen up a little bit the more you work through them. All right, let me see. I'm gonna pull 3 cards out of our deck. And as with the tarot, the idea with the I Ching, the idea here is to give ourselves a nice little general impression. And what do we start out with? Right at the top, beginning sort of the flag on top of the hill for this reading is the 3 of Wands. And we're talking about our creative drive, our will to do things, our will to have things, our will to come close to someone, this unstoppable inner fire that propels us toward whatever it is we want. It's that energy. That's what the fire wands, they're all about. You can call them wands, you can call them clubs, you can call them torches, you can call them sticks. You know, what are some of the other words? I can't remember even now, but they represent that drive energy that people have. What inspires you is that force. And the 3 is, you know, something to do. There's something we need to like go forward and just jump into. That's what the 3 is. So it's like for this weekend, there's something, even if it's cleaning the dishes. There's a pile of dishes, and I've been thinking about them, but I've been watching TV, and I've been real lazy, and I've been just hanging out, having a nice sleepy old time. But that pile has been there for like 4 days, and I'm going to creatively follow my innermost desire and jump into that pile of dishes and just clean the hell out of them so they've never sparkled like this in all of my personal history before. Okay, so that's what this 3 is. It's that I'm going to do this thing that I've sort of been planning. I just haven't quite been able to step into. I'm going to just knock it out. It could be, you know, I want to hang a swing in the backyard. I'm going to finally go to the hardware store, get the rope, and tie it to the darn tree. That's what that 3 is telling us is the big thing for the next couple of days. And over here, we have the world upside down. The world is, you know, this sort of semi-dancing. I don't know if you can really call that dancing. More like balancing. You know, she's in the position in this particular artwork. Her legs are in the same position that the hangman's legs are, upside down. That leg sort of crossed over the other one or crossed behind the other one. That's an interesting little idea. But the world is all about sort of being at having reached a full development, having gotten somewhere where you were wanting to go. It's taken a while, and you achieved something quite major, very significant, profound, something that really affects you, other people maybe, but your situation very deeply. So it's got a sense of completion. It kind of represents the area numerically of around the 9 and the 10. And, you know, you've done it. You're whole now. That's why you're in this circular thing. And, you know, you've got this wreath around it. You're in the whole, the world is now encompassed. You fill the world. Your achievement is your world. You have achieved a true definition. You have distinguished yourself in this particular scenario, but it's reversed. And so that means there's something to do that we're leaving, that we're not getting. We're not there. We're not there yet. We're missing this. So we're ignoring something that really needs to be finalized. This reversal here, it's basically kicking us in the rear a little bit, saying, hey, you know what? You're not done yet. Don't think that you're there, because yeah, you've got to step into action and do the dishes or do the garage or hang the swing. Yeah, but you haven't actually, there's something major that you're leaving unattended. And then we get an upside down ace of cups. And the cup is this sort of very almost royal castle-like looking temple of the heart. And it represents that full, infinite potential of feeling. And so there's something that here coming up that we need to pay attention to consciously. So what this card on the right is saying is, this over here on the left is more of an unconscious issue that you're not really aware of. This lack of being able to fully get to some goal. And over here on the right is something that you can fully think about and keep in your mind like a mantra. And that is to allow yourself to actually feel what it is that you feel and not avoid it. Perhaps there's something being pushed aside or kept down, repressed in our feelings, our emotional life, that is not being given a room to breathe. And this card, that's what this card upside down is saying. That there's something that you're not willing to accept your feelings on, and you kind of need to. So keep that in mind. That may help, even as you step forward into some creative energy. The cards kind of want us to perhaps think that maybe this energy isn't doing the garage, but is a little bit more in line with putting our energy and direction and putting our will toward what it is we need to do to get closer to what our true feelings are, to really figure out what it is we're feeling about some particular thing. And it seems to want us to do this soon, this weekend, because there's something about what we're not dealing with directly in our feelings, in our heart, that's keeping us from fully feeling comfortable with ourselves over here. When you feel comfortable with yourself, you end up sort of the whole integrated person represented by this card. That's kind of just that's one of those hints that it's just the tarot saying, don't fritter away your time with non-essentials. Think about what matters to you. Because if you're ignoring what matters to you over here, in the upside down Ace of Cups, then you won't be able to become full, be your full self over here. You want to be your best self, ultimately. That's what our goal really is with tarot. It's always to try to be our best self. That's what self-improvement is. All the stuff with self-help books, and we want to be our best self. How this card is like the card that says every individual is a superhero. Right? In some sense, some manner of feeling, every human has some qualities that put them on a sort of a superhero level. And you have to find that about yourself. What is that part of you that is at that level? And so really following your heart is quite often, facing your feelings quite often, the road to getting toward that best self. That's a mega important job of every person. Now I need some water. You know, I've gotten to the point where I have to drink water as sparkling water. I cannot drink flat water anymore. It's ridiculous. I hate it. I can drink it at the gym, but that's because at the gym I'm taking very short little sips. But anywhere outside of the gym, I can't stand it if it's not sparkling water. So that's a nice little reading. Actually, I like the fact that the tarot doesn't always just, and neither does the I Ching, but it doesn't just reaffirm what we want or what we're doing. It pushes us to self-improve. It pushes us. And by self-improve, I don't mean that in like some selfish way of, I want to be super duper, so that I can just get rich. I mean, it's self-improvement means you improve yourself and thereby improve the entire world. You make yourself more capable of doing good things. And as our I Ching reading said today, if you have things, you have great possession, great reward, and great power and achievement, you have to maintain your modesty so that you can do good. It's very easy when you get possession and lots of things and success to do bad, to actually make things worse for other people. But the modest, true person that's truly in touch with higher power and is open to the messages that, as the I Ching says, come from heaven. And you don't have to be religious to use the word heaven. They're using it as in the terms of higher force, higher energy. Even when they use the word God, we're talking about people who are like, many of them were Buddhists. They don't have God, but they use the word. It indicates a higher sort of awareness and energy. And these messages, you can't receive them. And you can't really do good in the world unless you maintain your modesty and have a humbleness about you, even if you have great wealth and success. That's what's so great about the reading we just did with the I Ching. And the tarot mentions very similar things. You can't achieve full integration, your full higher self, unless the actions you take ultimately are aimed at truly seeing what is in your heart, truly finding your heart. And there's always something in the cups. When you talk about the heart, it's very hard to talk about, well, what if the heart is evil? But see, once you sort of get into the evil realm, you're actually moving away from the heart. The heart is usually a healthy impulse in its original nature. And that's what the cups represent. The cups lean always toward love and not toward hatred. And when things are upside down, it means something's blocked and closed, and there's danger of leaning toward the dark side. But you want to the cups always are naturally in the light side, as in Star Wars there's the light and side, and there's the dark side. The force can be used. There's the dark force and the light force. There's these, and if you fall into the dark side and become Darth Vader, it's really been your choice to do that, to ignore the authentic power of the force. And they communicate that in Star Wars very well, actually. I think that's like probably the reason Star Wars has been so successful, is this focus on this idea of how there's lightsabers used for the light side and there's lightsabers used for the dark side, and how the balancing of these forces works is what makes Star Wars so interesting to people. So it's always interesting. The world card in tarot can be a little terrifying. Because it's, you get to the card that represents the ultimate in the series of the major arcana, and it's like, oh God, this is like the big one, isn't it? This is what all the major cards lead to. How do I make sense of that? It's like it's the end of the movie. It's the big scene at the end where the meaning is clarified and everything is resolved. What the hell? But you can keep it down, sort of simplify. It's like the world card is this true self, being your best, truest, actual, real self. And it's not that easy. The entire goal of Buddhism, that entire religion and philosophy, it has one goal, and that is to find your actual self. And I was watching a film on Buddhism a couple nights ago. Some young guy, I think he was a guy from India, made a really nice YouTube video about Buddhism, talking about the 4 noble truths of Buddhism. The fact that there is suffering, the fact that people can acknowledge and work on getting past suffering. The fact that there's also a nirvana, or I can't remember even what they are, but he ultimately, the goal of the 4 noble truths is to say that there are these problems. We know that they exist. There is pain, but you can work to eliminate or reduce this pain of being in existence, and you can find your ultimate real self. And they were also saying in this little film how the self is actually there right from the beginning, which is something I say about the tarot, because the idea in the tarot is that the Fool, which is the 0 card, the first card in the major arcana, is on a journey through the major arcana cards all the way up to the world card that we've been talking about. But what I often say to people is, let's look at the Fool card right at the beginning, the 0 card. It's quite possible that the Fool already has everything they need. They already are their full person. They're enjoying life. They're rather carefree. They are willing to go out on the journey with no doubt whatsoever that they're doing the right thing, even in the face of danger. They maintain enthusiasm for this discovery. Ultimately, they really are an integrated person right at the start, but they go through the journey anyway to get to the world. Now, why? Why would the Fool go on the journey if the Fool was already there? Well, the answer to me seems simple. The Fool goes on the journey for us. Why else would the Fool do it? If the Fool is full and integrated and happy, he would have to be, or she would have to be, in order to be the Fool, frankly. There's really no other way. The Fool doesn't mean stupid. The Fool means, the lover of life, the perpetually enthusiastic, the perpetually, inexplicably content and happy. Even content and happy where it makes no sense to be. But you can only be that if you really are a true self. That's I mean, how else would you be fully content and happy in a war zone? I mean, so the fool is there already. The fool has already gotten through the tarot. But the fool takes us through the tarot now. It's an act of generosity. That's what is going on. That is the message of the tarot. It's hidden. It's a little bit hidden because we want to think of the fool as, that idiot has so much to learn, right? But wise people always kind of look like a little bit like the fool, a little suspect, a little idiotic. Why would they even do that? Why did the Buddha say to people, if you meet me on a bridge, slay me? Well, that is to mean that I'm not that important. I'm not the thing. The Buddha isn't the thing. The thing is actually you and finding yourself. I'm just maybe a hint along the way, and then you can discard me. And there was another example they put into this little movie about Buddhism, how the Buddha had said Buddhism or the Four Noble Truths or whatever, the path of Buddhism to find yourself, to find nirvana, is like a raft. And when you cross a river, you get onto the raft and you cross the river. But then what do you do with the raft? Do you put it on your back and carry it? Not normally. Not unless it's a canoe and you're looking to cross a mile and go to another river, then sure. But by and large, when you cross the river, you tie the raft up and leave it at the dock. It's the same way with Buddhism. Buddhism is only the raft. It's not the actual thing that you're looking for. And so that's why the Buddha would say, slay me if you meet me, because he's saying, I'm not the thing you're looking for. You have to be willing to forget me. I'm not important. Now, most like leaders and religions and cults and things, they are important. They want you to know they're the important thing. But see, that's a key distinction between people who are, looking for something true and people who are not. People who are looking for something true tend to say, I'm not the deal. I'm not the thing. You don't have to listen to anything. You don't have to pay any attention whatsoever. The thing is actually in you. It's you. It's all about you and what you find. And, it's fascinating stuff to think about, and you can bounce around philosophically with these things a lot. Like, okay, well, if the speaker isn't the thing, then why is the speaker speaking at all? Right? Why is somebody streaming tarot if they aren't to some degree the thing? Well, it's all sort of you have to kind of want to be the fool. You just have to kind of emulate the fool, I think, in life. You have to do things that inspire you, where your instincts lead you, that seem positive, that a positive charge. And you go that way and you express things, because humans, they all want to express things. So people, the Buddha, anyone who writes a really good self-help or self-improvement book or something like, or spiritual book or whatever you call them, if they're expressing something that seems to like come through them and they feel like it's true, then they're just doing what is human nature, and it furthers things along. It puts things into the pool for everybody to draw from, because it's not easy for everyone to do things like find their true self. They get stuck. And other people doing and saying things visibly to them, like the Fool taking us on the journey of the tarot, they help. They nudge people in positive directions. Hopefully. I mean, that's the thing. You have to have a nose for sniffing out the positive so that you don't get stuck in something that's not positive, and you get trapped in some, something that's represented by the devil card. The devil card in tarot is that warning. You get stuck in something that's not actually following the positive trail, that's actually leading you down into some sort of captivity and, isolation and stuck in someone else's domain. That's not good. So these things all have these warnings, and if you're someone like me, any of us that stream tarot, let's say, there are different ways of doing it. There are different mindsets, and like somebody might be coming at tarot from a very, superficial, way, and and they might want you to think of them in a particular way as having some sort of a key, and you got to be careful with this stuff because, nobody really has any key to anything. They don't. They only have hints and their own sort of basic nose for following the positive trail, the scent that leads toward people being more themselves and being free to be themselves, not free just to listen to you. If people get an idea, then that's one of the best things I've ever heard from anything in any religion is that Buddhist thing, where the Buddha warned people, if you run into me and you see me in front of you, kill me. And that's not a literal, that's not telling someone, if you find a priest somewhere, kill him. It's not a stupid statement. It's a metaphorical statement. It's a statement meaning, don't get locked in. Don't be the devil card. Don't get stuck just worshiping this Buddha, this guy who had all these maybe wonderful things to say, but nonetheless, he's not the important thing. The priest isn't the important thing. The leader isn't the important thing. The speaker isn't the important thing. It's finding the ultimate true reality and the self and being the best possible self that, full awareness. The tarot leads us toward full awareness, just like any healthy philosophy does, always pointing towards some kind of full awareness of the real self, real existence, what it means, what it is, how it really feels, to get at least close to it, So, and if you get focused on some person, you're blinded. You're looking at an image of just that person. Like if you're just looking at a stream, like with a person, like this guy sitting here, and that's all you're thinking about, it's the actual thing in you, in the listener, the actual goal of the gold or the diamond in the person that you have to seek, the diamond in yourself that you're seeking, not the person delivering this or that information. Very interesting. I love to think about these things, Because when you think about them, when you just touch upon them, they automatically have the effect of bringing you into a more humble attitude. So really all you have to do, and the tarot is great for this because the tarot constantly reminds us to think about things. And by reminding us, it actually helps us to eliminate too much ego. And you get a humble quality in your outlook, which you really, I think helps a lot in general. So that's interesting. I was like, but see that this is why I like the tarot, because a card like the World comes up along with an upside down Ace of Cups, and it inspires the mind to go barreling down these trails of philosophical thought. And that's what tarot is. Tarot is really not a prediction machine. It isn't a fortune-telling machine. It's a philosophical machine. It's a system for opening up closed minds and breaking habits. It's really what tarot is. It's the first self-help book, for God's sake. That's what it is. It's the first one. It's humankind's original self-help book. When you go through the bookstore and you find the self-help section, the tarot is the first damn one. Anuha, thank you. I didn't even know Anuha was there. I had no idea. Thank you so much for that follow. Which means, Anuha, that you can probably, like when I stream, when I decide to go online, you'll know. And you can come and totally take part in these things. Because, I do readings for people, request readings. Golden Silence, hi, how are you? I have been going down my road of philosophical ponderings because I got the World card and in the reading just now, general sort of thing. And I love the way the tarot gets that part of the mind going. It's just so fun. But that's why, streaming tarot is you always have material. You can never run out of material with tarot. I mean, you may be a little tired. Like some nights I kind of sit down and I'm like, ooh, if nobody has a question to ask, I can't like, I don't know. I'm just not full of thoughts today. And that's fine. Sometimes that you can't always be running a marathon. But on other days, you get inspired to say stuff and follow these lines. There's tons of info. You're right, Golden. And look, if you go and look in a bookstore and you find tarot books, everybody has a different way, even if they're very similar ideas about the cards. They have different ways of expressing them. And so by looking at all these different ways people have, you increase your vocabulary. So as a reader and as a questioner, you get more vocabulary for understanding what the tarot is suggesting. Sorry. Golden, I really don't know much about astrology. All I know is I am a Sag. I am the only armed character in astrology. I always say that. I'm the only armed character. I carry a bow and arrow, damn it. I'm a Sagittarius. Yeah. I don't know what that means. I think Sagittarius, I don't know. Oh, thank you. Really? Ooh, okay. Well, I try to let the ideas just kind of run through, and almost let them flow without, I don't really stop myself to wonder, is it a good idea? Am I right? I just kind of work it out as I talk. So I could be totally wrong and then stop and realize that. Intuition. Yeah, I have read a lot. In fact, right here, right to my right here are two massive bookcases. That's why sometimes I reach over. I go like this over here to pull their books, like just ready to fall on top of me from there. Sometimes I worry about that, actually. If they fall, you just see a giant pile of books here on the screen, and you would just see my little hand going, help. But and books are great, but you know what? They're not great when you move. I'm telling you, when you move and you look and you realize you have to go and get 33 boxes in order just to hold your books, you're just like, I don't even want to do this. And whenever I move, I always pack my own books. I spend days just like putting them in boxes, putting the tape on. I know, man. And I have a Kindle, okay, for ebooks, and I try to use it a lot. So I buy fewer real books, but I don't want to get rid of any of the books I already have. So they're all here, and it's like I just can't get rid of them. I can't bring myself to go through them and take up boxes of them to some used bookstore, Yeah, and with ebooks, it's also hard to just sort of see you have to go looking and remember what you read, and it's harder to just go, oh yeah, and you see the books looking at you and you just pull it out and go, yeah, I remember reading this. You flip through it. Ebooks you have to keep organized, otherwise they sort of drift off in your memory. A storage unit. Actually, I have thought about it. I have. I could be, I'm always like, oh, do I really want to spend the money on a storage unit? Because they get, I guess for books though, you wouldn't really need a big one. Wouldn't need to be big at all. I could probably get it pretty cheap. That might be a good idea, actually. Storage unit. Yeah, put the library in there. Hi, Vinny. I know, it'll save the back. Yeah, and you've got them there, and then you can move as much as you like and just move your Kindle. Just take like the 20 books that you really want in your house or whatever, and yeah. Maybe I've been wasting a lot of energy carrying these things around, man. I know. I know. Yeah, I know. Oh yeah, Vinny. Yeah, I'm taking, yeah, you can, right at this point, oh yeah, there you are. You're in the queue. Here, hang on. Okay. All right, Vinny, you're next. Give me a topic. Ask what you will. Well, you just don't, it's really the disclaimer thing. It's like, you just don't want people going, oh yeah. Okay. Right. I was about to put $20,000 on this stock and you just told me to do it. So I'm going to press the button. Yes. Invest. You just don't want people doing that. Or, oh, what you said means I don't have to go to the doctor on Tuesday. I'm going to cancel my appointment. What you said, it makes me know that I'm perfectly fine. And then they don't go to the doctor and they really should. That's, you just don't want people making stupid decisions based on what you are talking about in tarot, which is supposed to be very intuitive and simply give people food for thought. It's not to say, go and invest, go buy that house. Yes, it's a good investment. No. You just don't want people thinking that stuff. It's just not a wise thing. Yeah. Yeah, because people tend to they can get a little carried away, right? They can forget themselves, and they listen to you, and you can sound very convincing. The problem, you read tarot for people, and they can get very, they want to believe fully in something. And if you give them permission to, then they can take that and run with it. All right, Vinny. You wanted to know what your college life... Okay, college life is going to be like. I'll tell you what it's going to be like. I'll tell you. College, I got to say, man, personally, I enjoyed college. It was, and the thing is, and here, let's let the tarot, let's let the tarot talk. Hold on. First thing the tarot's showing us is Cups, the Page of Cups. Page of Cups is young, probably very much appropriate for heading into a college. And the page here wants to follow their heart, wants to know really what they want, but it's reversed, and it indicates that they don't quite. They can't quite figure out what it is they want. It could be as simple as, what is my major going to be? I don't even know. And so that's all that means. It's that I'm going in, I'm changing my life, I'm leaving something that I've known my entire life so far, family and home and parents and my situation with my current school. And now all of a sudden life is changing so crazily, and I have to go somewhere perhaps, and I'm going to be in a totally new environment. College is this big thing. Big. Well, it's actually not. It's actually not. It's not that big, especially in your first year. It's not that big a massive thing. They kind of work you in. They kind of work you in that first year. They kind of get you acclimated. Okay, they're very good at this, and they kind of want to minimize the shock. And so they work you in, and it's not a big deal, really. But this confusion with the page, it's totally expected. It's like something, okay, we know that. That's the thing. That's what goes on when college is approaching. That's kind of how we all feel. We're not able to have this fully enthusiastic, like, yeah, I'm going to go and pursue this. At least most of us. Some of us, sure. Some of us have it all figured out at the age of 7, and we know exactly what we want to be, and boom, 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 we're okay, sure. But even then, that person still, they're going to have some anxiety about stepping into college because it's a big change. So the reversal is perfectly normal. Now here, we have the part of the reading that's more unconscious, that's a little harder to get a grip on. We We don't always, we're not aware of this part so much. The 8 wands, very creative, the fire, the passion. In other words, this is what up to now you've sort of wanted to do. You've kind of felt good pursuing. And the wands are that drive, that force that gets you like excited to do something, right? That feeling is what wands represent. It's the fire that gets you going, like what kind of books you like to read, what kind of movies you like to look at, who you like to talk to, all of these things, the thing that gets you the most sort of inspired and excited. That's where the wands sit. Okay? And the 8 is this number of, first of all, infinite possibility. So as you go toward college, you have this infinite possibility for creative work. But the 8 also has a quality of full application of yourself, putting full effort and maintaining a balance for yourself. Infinite possibility, but also balance and effort. Concentrate on everything you're doing, every moment of the transition into where you're going. Enjoy every aspect of it. The 8 has all of these qualities of change, enjoying the work, finding real balance in life, discovery, infinite potential. It's a very good card to get stepping into college. Okay? And this is the part that's sort of it's not visible. It's in you. I want you to follow that inspiring feeling that you have for something, and that will guide you in your college toward what it is you really want to do, what you really want to learn how to do. It'll become clear. That's all in this 8 of wands. Then over here, something to be very like aware of and keep in mind, like something to remind yourself of consciously, like you can say to yourself. That's why it's on the right. The King of Cups. Okay. So the King of Cups basically, the king has experience, capability, authority, respect, knows what they want. They're mastering what they want. Now, the reversal is in line with the reversal of the page. Okay, you're confused for now. You don't know yet what it is you want to pursue. And it's saying, okay, keep in mind that you're not going to instantly achieve mastery. You're not going to become fully engaged or fully confident in your choice until you're ready to. And it's going to take time. That's why the reversal is here. You can't jump in with your effort here, your creative energy and your inspiration, and expect to leapfrog and become fully confident and comfortable with what you're doing immediately. That's not the way it works. It's going to take time to develop. But the message here is not to worry about your confusion, your inability to fully master what it is you're supposed to be doing, but to maintain a consistent and full engagement in all of your efforts with the promise that this leads to very high achievement and success level and will bring about this goal, which is a very confident, capable person who has found what they truly want, what makes them feel best in life. That's because of the cup, the heart. Okay? So you have to take it gradually. And this is nothing more than what college is anyway. I mean, after all, college takes a few years to get through, and and usually you don't even have to declare a major in your first year anyway, as far as I recall. I don't know how things are now, but so not to worry. Things are going to go perfectly fine, and just make sure you apply all of your energy like this 8. And then you have all of this infinite potential of success, and you will become the energy of the confident mastery, following their true love of what they want to do. What do I love to do? And you will find it. You will become this highly confident. See? Totally got it. Like I found what I wanted to do, and I became it, and I'm fully a master of it. And that takes time. So there, Vinny, that's a little kickoff for you to kick off your career in this new life of yours. I remember those days pretty well, actually. Yep. And I'm telling you, once you get, oh, thank you. I remember being very anxious. I even did a thing like my college had during the summer before my freshman year. They had us come to the school for a weekend of orientation. Like it was like a month before the years would begin. And I went, and I remember being, oh my God, this is so different. How am I going to do this? This is like grown-up city, man. What am I going to do? But then when the year began and I went for those first classes, within like 2 days, it clicked. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is easy, man. It's just classes. And they start, you know how classes start. They start with orient. The first week is like, this is like, hi, how are you? And we're going to read this, and here's an outline, and you know what I mean? They get you, and then all you need is a couple hours, really. And you're sitting there and you're like, oh, this isn't going to be a problem. This is not going to be a problem. And then you meet a few people that you're like, oh, you know what? Actually, these people are probably going to end up being some friends. You go and you have some coffee with them or lunch or something. And it's like, these people will probably end up being my friends. We're talking, this is cool. I have someone to talk to between classes and stuff. So it's all like, it all works out very quickly in that first week you're there, the first couple of days, man. So yeah, I hope that helps. There you go. The orientation, they're still doing those, huh? Oh yeah. And you know what? I remember even at the orientation, because they had us stay there for the weekend. So we stayed, I think, in the dorm place. And I remember even then I met people, and they're all in the same, like some people going into college, they're real good at acting super confident. They're like super cool kids and everything. But I remember even then I met some people, and we were like hanging out, and we like ordered pizza or something. And it was like just a big room full of people all being silly. and just having like a big pizza party. That's why I remember the main memory I have actually from that orientation thing so long ago is that pizza party night. Because it makes you feel like, this isn't so bad, really. This is pretty good. Well, I hope you enjoy the orientation, Vinny. You know. And Golden, there you are. Okay, you're in the queue. All right. Yeah. Enjoy your orientation. And and make sure you order pizza. Golden, I'm shuffling. Yeah. Yeah, it can be really fun. It's not going to be any big deal. Don't worry about it. You're going to be good. So, Golden, just whatever topic you want, let me know. I'll just shuffle until you tell me. I notice most people, when they stream tarot, they shuffle like this. Your brother's intentions toward you. Well, that's your brother's intentions. Like, do you feel like your brother, do you have a doubt that your brother, like, you know, like siblings are supposed to sort of have each other's back? You know, they're supposed to sort of watch out for each other, right? Do you feel like unhinged? Okay. So something is disturbing you in the wavelengths coming from your brother. Oh, okay. And, you know, yeah, emotion. Yeah. And that's actually not uncommon with siblings. They can go into phases. I know about it. I've seen that. They can go into these phases of being really nasty. And as they always say, it's usually, right? You always hear the same thing about people doing that. It usually means they're going through something, that they have some big feeling of doubt or weakness about themselves and they can't work it out. Let's see what the tarot says. Eight of Swords pops up. Swords is conflict and mind, mental, the way you communicate with people. Now, the 8 in the Swords is sort of a, not to be facetious, but a double-edged sword. Because the 8 is that number of infinite potential, but also it has a boundary quality. That's why the drawing is this way. These swords bent around and enclosing this blossom. So there's a quality, there's a cage-like quality going on. Now, you're talking about someone else's intentions. The tarot is indicating a mind here that has capability, that has potential, but may be in a situation of sort of being trapped in some way and feeling closed in, feeling too much obsessed with something. You know, the 8 has that, as I was just saying in the other reading, that applying your full energy to something, your full capability to something in order to achieve the great success of the 8, the balance. If it gets out of balance, if you begin to apply yourself in an obsessive manner toward one thing, it becomes unhealthy. Now, that could be what is being signified here. Let's get clarification here. We have mind again. We have the swords coming out again. This time it's the 6. Now, this is an unconscious sort of invisible indicator here. It's a suggestion of what might be, this 6 wants to be in harmony with people. It wants to share. So under all of this possibly obsessive sort of behavior, obsessive communication, thoughts that are kind of closing things in, underneath that is a desire to share, to be close, to enjoy exchange, to enjoy the ideas of someone else. So the 6 is usually a rather healthy number. It's also looks somewhat enclosed here, but the numerology of the 6 always has this sense of harmony and beauty and seeking communication. What that means is it's hinting that behavior and obsession can sometimes be indicators that somebody is seeking true communication but doesn't know how to do it, can't get there. And so something's broken along the way, but there's a true intention underneath. Now, something to keep in mind and remind yourself of as you move forward. You get a very powerful card there, the 10 of Cups, which means feelings become resolved and understood. Love, perhaps love of a sibling, family. The love becomes capable of being expressed fully, and you get through something. You get past something, and you're ready to move forward into the next stage of your relationship. And this holds perfectly well for a family member as it does for romance. It's the same idea. Every relationship between people has this emotional element. The heart is always there. And so if there are issues now that are very mental, these mental issues, these issues around communication that just aren't working correctly right now, there is a strong desire to communicate and resolve conflict here that's under the surface, that's unspoken. It's hard for you to see that in this other person. But by reminding yourself that it's there, you get onto a path leading you to something the tarot wants you to keep in mind, which is the ability to really express love in a correct way, in the way that's healthy and is encouraging the family, best for the family relationship. And you get there with the 10 of Cups. Well, talking with a therapist is possibly very represented by the 6, which always implies open communication, relationships with others, connecting. But that will to do that is present. It's just hard to see. And the 8, even though it may show in this case a certain fixated quality, a locked in quality, it has enormous potential. There's a strong mind there, in other words, with enormous potential to achieve the correct balance. And the positive indicator here of the 10 of Cups indicating a resolution and good feeling, open feelings of family affection here is represented by this 10. Now, all of these cards are number cards also. That's another important thing to point out about this reading, indicating that none of these things are particularly difficult, that they're going to be resolvable, that they're not deeply ingrained, that these things are rather temporary. So this getting through this and getting to this isn't going to take forever. Yeah, well, these patterns, if the pattern is there, the 8 is very good at talking about that kind of locked in pattern, obsessive, stuck in something. And the 8, though, the mind is capable of getting to the right balance. It just has to, find the encouragement. And absolutely, that's what therapists do. Therapists are good at that. The tarot can give you all kinds of little indications and hints, but ultimately, yes, a therapist is the thing that would actually do the day-to-day work to get somebody to move out of their problem into a healthy relationship. But that healthy relationship, it looks like the tarot is kind of saying, hey, keep that in mind. That's a goal. That's a great goal to have in mind, the 10 of Cups. But, as with all, with brothers or sisters, in conflict and behaving poorly, you have to keep always in mind that they do underneath have that, they want to be in a sharing communication. They do. They ultimately want to connect. The brother wants to connect with their brother or their sister. They want to have a free back and forth and, a supportive relationship. They always want that. And they know unconsciously that if something is off, they know, and they can sense that. It's just hard to make them fully aware of it. Hi, Madeline. Well, I mean, maturity, it's for some of us, it's hard. For some of us, it's hard to get there. You're very welcome, Golden. It's hard. We need encouragement, some of us, to get mature. Hi, Madeline. Okay, so we're doing some readings. And you can ask, pick a topic. I'm going to start shuffling these crazy cards. Absolute. How you doing? I see you. Love reading. All right. Let's do it. Let's see what signals the tarot sends out from its radio tower about love. Oh boy. Well, I began the morning talking about the world card, and now look what has appeared again like magic as the main radio tower signal going beep, beep, beep from our tarot reading about love. The world card is basically the card where it's like you. It's the real sort of you. It's your fully achieved sense of self. It's where you're like, ah, yeah, I got there. I feel good. I want to go out. I want to have, a gigantic slice of pizza. I want to talk to everybody and is there a dance floor? Let's go dance. Yeah, I feel like I have, really done it. And I feel the best about myself that I have in ages. This is what the world card is. It's integration of self. It's full realization of either of the self or some aspect of what's going on. And since this is about love, this really means that you know something about yourself. You've discovered something about yourself and you're ready. You feel it's like an enthusiasm for love. You want the best possible love to measure up to you, who you are. And who you are is right here in this world card. Like you're feeling this, it's a really good potential about yourself. Okay? All there in that main signal here, which is, wow, I am so ready. And basically, you feel like I'm a really cool person. I've got all of this going on. I'm ready. Okay. If anybody finds me, this is I'm an incredibly great catch. That's what this world card is saying at the top of the mountain. Now, unconsciously over here, and something we're kind of needing to sort of recognize has been there and we haven't been aware of, is this sort of the devil card representing kind of being stuck in something. Okay. And that's represented by the fact that the devil card has, I don't know why it's so slowed, has those chains, those cords holding the two people there trapped. Well, that is simply saying, I felt kind of like I've been stuck in something that I haven't necessarily been able to forget or get out of my head. I haven't been able to get past it entirely. That's what that devil card is. I want to get out of there. I want to forget it. I want to put it in the past. And this tarot is saying, yeah, it's hard sometimes. It takes time. It's slow. We can't always just get past things. And the tarot is recognizing that in you and how, okay, you can move past it. It doesn't happen overnight. And we recognize that. We know that there are these things that hold us back and make us feel bad and keep us in obsessive thoughts or locked into thoughts of someone from the past, right? But the fact is, you've got this enormously powerful sense of self here in the world card that overwhelms all of this, that takes you out of this and handles it. Okay? So the tarot wants you to remember that. And then over here, it's saying, okay, I'm showing you a upside down 4 of Wands. Now the 4 of Wands, okay, Wands are fire. They're passion. They're wanting to move into love. It's the energy, the instinct that attracts you to a person or inspires you to do or be or create something. Okay. And the 4 is stable and secure and sometimes kind of boring and locked in. Okay. But this is upside down, which means the 4, that the walls that are like protecting you, they're going poof. They're going, open the doors. They're the security and perhaps the isolation, the maybe being a little too wrapped up in your own head. It's opening up now. That's why it's reversed. Now, the difficulty of that is that can be a little disconcerting. The security, the isolation, the safety, the boredom. If the doors open up to the world and you start stepping through them, that can be a little nerve-wracking, right? You can feel like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's why, but it's there. So it means keep that in mind. The doors are opening. You're about to step out of the house. So get ready. But this is the card that tarot wants you to keep in your back pocket. The world is saying everything that this reading is about is all fully handled and fully achievable because you've basically reached a point where you know pretty much who you are, what you want, and you're going to find it because this sense of yourself is actually very powerful. And that's what attracts people. This card. That's what attracts people. Little specific things you do or say aren't what attract people. A real full sense of who you are that's sort of unspoken, that's what attracts people. And there it is. Yeah, devil card's a fire hazard. Exactly. The devil card, you're right. You're right, absolute. You're welcome, Madeline. That I hope that's encouraging. Yeah. But yeah, it's a fire hazard. And okay, so Z that is fine Z that is finesse. I see you're in the queue. Oh, Llama Pajamas. I remember you. Llama. Yeah, you're back. So Z that you are up. Hi, Llama. Good to see you. Z that you just pick up your subject and you tell me what kind of question you're thinking about. And I'm going to shuffle these things. Does it? Does the bot know your old? What is the bot knows your old name? I don't know how these things work yet. Which is your what it is it Z that wait, so is you Z that is you? Maybe it's like something like maybe there's like a username and then your display name or something might be different. Maybe you need to make your display name match your actual username or something. I'm not very good person to ask because I'm still like, what? How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you make Twitch like, it's, they could make it simpler. Let me just put it that way. Okay, absolute. You are reading about financial problems because you want to be able to leave your family because parents refuse to change for the better. And I feel like I'm missing out on life because I try to stay to help them. But after a bad investment, I fell into a big financial problem. I have planned, but I want a little help to solve it and be able to leave my family behind to live a more full life. Okay, now remember, Absolute, that investments are very tricky things. It takes real expertise, and you know, investments should always be done by talking to a real, a professional, expert, a licensed finance advisor. And, trying to do investments, I'm like me, for instance, I was just talking the other night about how bad I am at that kind of thing. I just can't do them. I can't do investments. I don't know what to pick. I don't know how people figure it out. But I'm right there with you. Making an investment that's bad, I mean, I think that describes my entire approach. But the tarot can sort of give you things to kind of keep in mind. Like tarot is very good at kind of getting people to sort of balance out and be cautious and to think about things carefully. So let's get a the tarot can give you hints for, how to be how to function with and follow what you know already to be true and to be reasonable. The tarot's good at reminding us to follow our actual hearts and to actually, do things in the correct way. Let's see what our primary. Okay. So an unusual card because in the financial realm. Now this card may be talking. We're not only talking about finances here, right? Because you have financial problems and you feel like you blame yourself for doing something incorrect, but you also have this other issue of, you want to help people, but maybe you're saying, maybe I'm not that good at it. And I have this other instinct to leave so that I can free myself of their problems, which may not be solvable, and go so that I can live my own life, right? This is the battle in life. Like, how do I live my life? How much do I give to someone else or to my family? And if you don't balance those properly, then you can't do the best thing for either one, them or you, right? It's pretty normal. What the High Priestess, La Papesse, what she gets at is the ability to access difficult, hidden, and relatively unconscious ideas and information and bring them forward and put them into understandable form and communicate them. That's why she has the book in her hand. The things that she finds that she's able to access, she's also able to bring into communicative form. So the card is suggesting that whatever is unspoken in this general dynamic, in this problem you're having, whatever may be unspoken and under the surface and people haven't been willing to discuss, may need to come out and be discussed openly. And the card is saying you have that capability to a great degree. You can rely upon your own ability to foster an environment where things that are very difficult to talk about, secrets, things that are unpleasant, things that people have not been wanting to discuss with each other, you can bring them forward and people will listen and you can bring them out in an understandable way that people are comfortable with. That is the mission of the High Priestess in tarot. And it's a major arcana card, which means you have this ability, really powerful, and access it, use it. It wants That card wants communication and open discussion of things that have been kept down. And here we have another major card. This is a very, very deep, powerful reading. The Moon card is very closely related to the High Priestess card because the Moon card is the unconscious, the unspoken, coming out, coming up. You see what's coming up from the water. The crayfish. You see the animals going nuts, howling at the moon, the energy coming from the moon. That's the energy of intuition and unconscious coming out and disturbing the vortex, making all the waves, creating like some nightmares, but it's all coming out. It's bubbling up from the unconscious. So there are these forces in these unspoken things going on, perhaps in the family, that are seeking to come up and out and be expressed. And that's why the reading has the High Priestess in the high point. It's saying that she can access all of this hidden stuff here in the Moon card, and she can bring it out without creating chaos. She brings it out calmly, and she brings it out in a form that is understandable to everyone who hears it. So she starts to clarify the situation that maybe has created emotion, and as people get mad or people get upset, they get hurt because they're unaware of what's going on under the surface. But she is the power that you have to clarify these things gently and make people aware of things in a healthy way. Okay? And we move forward into the coins. And what are we talking about? The 8. Look what a powerful card this is. Because what the coins are, they are talking about money. They are talking about wherewithal, the things you need to survive. They're talking about finances. They're talking about, wealth. Okay? And the 8 is this number of incredible achievement and infinite potential and balance. And, when you get it into Pentacles, the coins here with the 8, you're leaning into the area of, I'm getting there. I am applying myself very diligently to the problem of finances, and I'm figuring it out. See, the 8 is not the number of, ooh, I suddenly got everything I wanted. No, because the 8 always has the element of work and consistent work and hard work and applying what you know, what you learn, applying all of your knowledge to the problem consistently and over time with a great deal of effort. But it implies that if you do that, if you learn what you need to learn, if you do the work you need to do, that you will get to this balanced position of success. You will get this gain that you seek. That's the implication, but it requires the work of the 8. You have to do it yourself. Could be in conjunction with your family, of course, but the 8 never is just reward from nothing. It's reward for work and effort. And then you get this incredible 8, infinite potential, balancing things out, finding comfort. That's what the reading wants you to keep in the forefront of your mind as being achievable, assuming you put the effort in. Now, keeping that in mind, it's not telling you to leave anyone or to stay with anyone. What the reading is telling you is rely on your ability to bring out hidden things and discuss them in a healthy way, to access things that are hard to deal with and to resolve them. And that by working on that problem and resolving things, perhaps within the family, and discussing them openly, you will then allow yourself the time, the energy to make rational, wise decisions and get toward this success. I hope that gives you some, what it's supposed to do is give you a little inspiration, for how you approach. Hi, Lucky. How are you? You get inspiration for an approach to things. Yes, you do the join thing. There's the Twitch robot tells you how to register. So I hope that gives you some form of inspiration on how to kind of, rely on yourself to resolve things. All right, Llama. You are up. I will do my shuffle thing here. You're welcome, Absolute. You have a good night. Okay, Llama. Love to have more insight into your current relationship, basically seeing what you can do to bring the best to it. Help it thrive. Yep. All right. First thing the tarot is signaling is a reversal, a Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups has that, full expression, full heart and ability to access it. So we're talking about how to make a relationship thrive. And what the tarot here is sort of saying is, okay, well, there's a little bit of something hard to see in your feelings here. There's something you might not be fully able to access right now. Not a big deal because it's a number card. It's a relatively temporary, but there's something where you're a little confused and not quite able to determine how you feel entirely. So, your heart, you want to be bursting full of love, but maybe at the moment you're not. It might be something a little parched going on in your feelings. So something's a little restricted, perhaps. So the tarot is kind of getting into that, where that might be. And here on the left, you have this, there's a real sort of, you're not necessarily always aware of this, but you always are driving toward achieving this very high level of how to express your passions, your desires, the wands of fire, that energy. And this is the queen, and the queen is always wanting to find ways to communicate in a healthy way and to nurture. So when you want to make your relationship thrive, that's what the queen is. That's what she represents. And this is your consistent underlying focus that you're not always thinking about consciously, but it is the key toward that part of you is the key toward making things thrive, toward getting through whatever may be blocking you really being able to understand what your real deep feelings might be. And then the other reversal here is a 7, and we're again with the wands. And the 7 is gaining a higher, more understanding of drives, of urges. And for some reason, there's an inability to figure out what these drives are, which direction you're going in. The passion may be a little reduced. And the 7 is always sort of this idea of putting things out there, using what you have, but also moving higher and getting more satisfaction and getting a higher sort of view of your relationship and seeing it in a higher, better light, basically, getting a higher vantage point so that you can see things more clearly. And something is holding it up. So there's difficulty in accessing your real feelings, what really fills up your heart, what makes your love become full. Something's holding it back, perhaps, that you can't see. And that's the biggest part of this reading. What is that? Why? What's and consciously to be aware, the reading is saying, be aware of the fact that maybe there's a little bit of not knowing what's going on with your attractions. The fire in you, where is it? I can't see what's going on with that. It's a little confusing. Maybe it's not there, or it's there too much in some other direction, and it's confusing and it's hard for you to gain a perspective on it. Okay. And the tarot wants you to be aware of that confusion and think about it. Where's that coming from? But the tarot is saying this queen is the key to the whole thing, and she may have been ignored a little bit. She's hard to see, so you forget that she's there. But she has full capability to manage this, and you need to access her. She's hard to find sometimes because she gets lost in the details of day-to-day living. But remember that she's you, and you have this ability to master and to understand the passions in a relationship and to communicate and to nurture and to find ways to make things thrive. But you have to acknowledge the blockages and see them for what they are, the confusions, and look at them and trust that you have this capability to see through them and master them and make wise decisions that make everybody better. So keep the queen. That's the back pocket card. It's the card you want to remember you have that gets you there to thrive. Okay, if you're afraid to be completely vulnerable, okay, so that could explain why we're talking about the upside down Ace of Cups. That could explain part of why, if you don't feel something is totally as real as you want it to be, that could explain confusion here in the drive, in the passion. But the queen has what the tarot wants you to do is meditate upon the fact that you have this queen in you. And that's where it wants you to put your attention. Lucky to be me, I see you in the queue. You are next up. I hope that gives a little bit of hint, Llama. What you do for you at this point. What do the cards want you to see? Interesting question. Interesting way to phrase it. You're very welcome, Llama. All right, lucky to be me. Let's see what we find. Okay. The heart. Knight of Hearts. The knight takes action, doesn't wait, goes forward, follows their heart. So the reading is basically saying what the first thing it wants you to see is, okay, whatever it is you're feeling recently, whatever it is, where your heart has been, it wants you to follow that and have confidence in your feelings and move forward with them. That's what the knight always represents, following that line forward. Now, it gets into your mind here with the swords and how you communicate. And it shows a 4 reversed. Okay. And the 4 is, stable, secure, safe. You've been used to something. And now it's reversed because it's saying, okay, be careful now. Break the old ways. The old ideas about things might not be what you really want right now. And this is hard to see because it's on the left side. It's hidden. It's kind of in your deep. You may only be aware of this when you are dreaming or something, but it wants you to say, being safe in the way you think about things and the way you talk about things isn't always going to get you moving forward and developing. So it's time maybe to break out of the normal. Okay. Now over here, something to, so you've got the Knight of Cups as your primary, and then as something to think about moving forward, you've got the Page of Cups. Now the Page of Cups says, I don't know everything there is to know. So maybe but I'm willing to learn. I'm happy. I'm not worried about, I want to give me more. Let me find out more about what this is I feel. So this reading wants you to follow your heart. It wants you to stop restricting yourself with thoughts that maybe you've been wound up in for a long time. It wants you to break that and leave it. And it wants you to follow your feelings, your heart, and trust them, and recognize that you may be foolish about them at times, but it's okay. You're learning. You're getting there. And not to be worried about falling on your face. The knight can charge out, follow their feelings, and fall off their horse and become a big embarrassing spectacle. But this card is saying, so what? That's fine, because you're learning and it's all going to open up for you. That's what the reading is saying. It's about your heart. I want you to follow your feelings recently and what they are, where they're going, and stop holding yourself back with thinking that locks you into something that may prevent you from doing what it is you want to be doing. Long-term relationships that you have been holding on to has ended, and you are grieving because it was something you really wanted. It's so hard to let go. Well, it may be that that we all do that, and that's why this card's here. This upside down 4. It means the thinking things over and over again. You can get caught in that and feel safe doing it, and you feel like you just keep sort of sitting in that one thing. This is saying, no. That's got to stop. That's got to go. Got to break it. The walls of the house have to open up, and you have to go out. Go out. That's what the knight is. Get out. Boom, 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 boom. Go. Move forward with your heart, and let your heart be confused and make mistakes, because you're learning, and it's all going to be just fine. You'll get there like the page always suggests here. Okay? That's, and, these two cards, the tarot also, because they're court cards, it's saying these are already part of you. You already have these qualities. And this little thought jail over here that you're locking yourself into is only a number card, so it's not going to be hard to break. You're going to be able to break this. Hi, knees. How you doing? I see you. Hot, 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 it says. You're very welcome, Lucky. So, Knees, if you would like a reading, you just let me know. You just do the join thing if you want a reading. I've had quite a few readings for this morning. Actually, I didn't expect it. I decided to do a morning stream instead of an evening one. I think today, with the opening I Ching reading, I think that was my favorite I Ching reading I've done recently. Somehow I just sort of understood its message easily. Okay, Knees. Let me get you officially. There you go. You are up. All right. And I am very prepared with the shuffling. Sebastian sounds like Sebastian. You're right. Sebastian's a character from a Shakespeare play also. I believe Sebastian is in The Tempest. I think he's in The Tempest. I'd be Shakespearean if my name was Sebastian. I think Sebastian is from The Tempest and is the character that's in love with the daughter of Prospero. I think, unless I'm somehow substituting the wrong character from the wrong play. I can't remember. Yes, what to ask. Sure. let's say, let's just do a simple reading on something to keep in mind as you something to keep in mind for the upcoming week, how to sort of feel like you can you can something to meditate on for the week. Page of Swords reversed. First thing, the sort of hit you in the head right off the top here is whatever is sort of bugging you and you're not having a great deal of fun thinking about, putting off, maybe not wanting to face, let's have a look at it. It's saying, let's think about that, and where's the fun? Where's the enjoyment of dealing with things and that maybe you used to have? The page always wants to learn more, always wants to find new ways of expressing themselves, and always wants to learn about things that they don't understand yet. And so think about where maybe you're not doing that. That's why it's reversed. The page is full of enthusiasm and love for learning and dealing with things and talking to people. And why is it that maybe you've ignored some of these things? And where are you missing it? Where would maybe be a place to go, why aren't I having more fun? Why aren't I learning more about this? Why am I closing myself off from this? Let's think about that, okay? Then over here, we get an 8 of wands, the creative, the juice, the fuel oil inside our engine that keeps us like interested in things, passionate about things, wanting to do them, wanting to learn them. And so if we're going to try and figure out why we've not been, learning something or facing something, the fact is we have this unspoken ability to really apply ourselves passionately to what it is we want to do or learn. We've got it right here. It's inside us and we don't always access it. But here it is. Tarot is saying, okay, remember you got that. You're able to find this incredible persevering attitude toward things that inspire you, and you're able to this huge infinity of potential here when you apply yourself. So let's get past whatever it is we're not thinking about recently that we actually enjoy, and let's apply those energies there. And keep in mind that the star is a goal. Now, the reversal means that the star energy, which is the energy of following the guiding voice that may be hard to hear and sharing what you get from it, pouring it out into the world, giving back, so to speak, giving yourself and what you have accomplished by following the guidance, the proper guidance, that voice that tells you where you're going and what you should be doing. And all of the things you achieve by following that, you share with the world, and it makes everything around you better. It grows everything. Okay? People who come in contact with you benefit from being in contact with you. That's what the star is all about. Now, by not following what it is you want that makes you feel good about learning and applying your mind to, you end up with a restriction here. Either you can't follow your voice. You can't share anything because you're not comfortable yourself. So all this reading is saying is rely upon your abilities, your creative, vast powers there. Rely upon them. Let them come out so that you can start hearing the voice inside you that tells you what you really want to apply yourself to. Okay? And it's because we did the reading for this week, it means let's do it this week. Let's make a start. I hope that helps. Gives you a little, out of the blue inspiration, basically, is what that is. And Miradot, I see you there. Hi, Jing. How are you? So, Miradot, you go ahead. You ask something. You are up, and I'm going to do the shuffle. I'm going to do a masterful shuffle. I'm going to make this shuffle like I'm a poker expert player in Las Vegas sitting at the table. Well, that wasn't that good, but cheers, knees. That was a little better. Are you getting, Jing, are you freezing on your stream? Repeating. Are you... Are you seeing like the same, like something in a loop? Miradot. Thank you, Miradot, about the camera. You're up. Jing, I'm trying to get Miradot going, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to see if Miradot, I think Miradot might not still be connected. So yeah, so Jing, I'm going to switch to you. Okay, I've selected you from the queue. So what's coming for you from now to August? Oh boy, something to ponder from now to August. What's sort of a signal that the tarot wants to give you? Wow. Magician. Number 1 card of the major arcana. Magician is, able to keep many things in play, to juggle. And great accomplishment, can put all of their energy into making something, into bringing something to fruition. And that's what the tarot wants you to see here, is make the thing you want to make. Do the thing you want to do. Now's the time. So from now to August, whatever that thing is that you're good at doing or making, let's do it. Focus on it. Make it happen. It could be taking a wonderful vacation. Whatever it is that's in your head, like inspires you and gets you all wound up to do something. It's saying, yes, let's do it. Put all the skills, everything you've prepared for, put them all to work here. It's time. It wants you to see that there is this Also, this capacity for communication, the swords, the Six of Swords, that's the mind, that's communication, okay? That's dealing with things. And the six is very, very open and expressive and in connection with people. So it's saying talk to people, make your contacts, bring your friends close, express all these things that you want to do and achieve. Keep your communication lines wide open, okay? And then as we move forward into the Devil card, it wants you to be conscious and put this, say, wait, this is something to be, to seek as a goal, okay? This is something to move toward. It doesn't mean move into the devil. It means move toward dealing with whatever may be locking you into something, to tying you down, making you feel sort of a prisoner of something. Wherever that is, this ability here for you to make things, to apply yourself, to do what it is you really want to do in the next couple of months. Do it and use that energy, use what you're doing to help free you from whatever it is that's been getting you feeling down, feeling you tied and stuck, to break that open. Okay? And part of this is relying upon your ability to communicate with friends, bring them in, talk to them, express your thoughts. It may help keep you free of this thing here, get you out of whatever that might have been in the past or whatever's still sort of keeping you boxed in. I hope that's useful. I like doing these readings, even for myself, just for the next little bit of what should I think about for the next couple of months or the next month? What should I just sort of refer back to as a suggestion? Well, the outcome, the tarot, the outcome, it's not giving you an outcome. It's giving you a suggestion for how to sort of approach what to think about for the next couple of months. You wouldn't say that the outcome is the devil. The suggestion here is to use these energies and skills that you have to prevent or break anything that may be holding you back in some area. And that's for you to pick. Where do you feel you're held back? Well, you apply the magician energy, which is hard work. It's using your skill and knowledge and all of your abilities, and using your head and your abilities to talk to people and seek outside input here. In other words, an open exchange and sharing has to go on here. And the outcome is that you will potentially be able to break through barriers that have been making you feel kind of stuck in some area. That's the outcome. But you have to do the work, is what the tarot is saying. You have to give yourself, you have to say to yourself, this magician, I want to be the magician, which means I want to do the work that I know darn well I need to do. I need to get to it now. Good. Good, Jing. All right. I think I'm going to wrap it up. It's been a very nice and fascinating morning stream. Really enjoyed it, actually. I think it, maybe it's a wise idea to do more morning streams. Maybe I have more energy in the morning. So I'll see what I can do about that. But this is very nice. Maybe tomorrow I'll do another morning one. It should be easy. So I'm gonna end the stream now, and I may even come back later this evening tonight, do another night one. It's really been a fascinating bunch of readings today. So everybody do very well and enjoy and live all the little tarot suggestions and ponder them and, use them for meditating upon. And I'll see everybody that stopped by again, I hope. So have an excellent weekend.